or reason for him doing what he does.
Yeah.
When he kills his sister.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it. I guess you can theorize why, because he sees her doing the bad thing.
Yeah.
Or, he doesn't even see that. It's very strange.
Well, plus also the bad thing does only last for like a minute.
Yes.
So...
Let me just say now, there are 2 sexual acts in this film, and we timed them. Actually, physically timed them. Michael's sister,
Judith.
Yeah.
She had a bad night in 2 different ways.
Yeah. So her boyfriend lasts a grand total of 1 minute 14 seconds.
I think, actually, from the time the light goes out,
well, I was going to
say
that is including, that's from the light going out and him appearing on the stairs doing up his trousers.
Yeah.
So it was probably less than that.
And let's face it takes a few seconds to put your shoes on and your socks on. Unless he left his socks. I mean, what kind of a guy does that?
Unless he just unzipped and went at it. But she was, like, fully naked, so...
Yeah.
I guess, they were trying to be discreet. But the other sex act is between Linda...
Yeah.
And I can't remember her boyfriend's name.
Is it Bob?
Bob, let's say Bob. Yeah. I think it is Bob. And that was, 23 seconds?
Yep, about that. Now, granted, they were halfway through and, I think there was a phone call. But, come on.
It was maybe I don't know, there's 4 or 5 thrusts.
Yeah. And she says that was totally fantastic.
Fantastic. I mean, she's easy to please.
Yeah.
Lucky old Bob. But yes, so...
Anyway, back to Michael.
Anyway. So judgmental. There's nothing wrong with lasting, a short while.
Let's talk about the film. Michael.
Sure. Not casting aspersions on anyone. Anyway, so Michael, he just, it's very, very kind of just unexplained why he does it. And it is also unexplained why he returns to carry on his work, as it were. Yeah,
without talking about the sequels or the legacy.
This is what I mean. As a standalone film, it's not explained. And, obviously he doesn't speak. He... I mean, the one thing I find curious is he drives a car. And that, I think, is really funny,
What, because he's been locked up since the age of,
not even that.
5 or 6?
It's just the image of him driving, because he for the rest of the time, he's so much a sort of, a blank kind of monster.
Well, he's the shape.
And that doesn't translate to, 10 and 2, shift your gears, it just makes me laugh. So I think that's why he's so brilliant, is because we don't know why he's doing this.
Well, I like how he just appears.
Yeah.
He lingers as well.
He almost has a paranormal element to him because, he kind of appears and disappears. Obviously he, spoilers, he gets shot several times.
Oh, yeah.
At the end.
And stabbed in the eye.
He gets stabbed in the neck, in the eye, in the chest, I think.
Yeah, with an actual butcher's knife.
Yeah. Yeah. He goes through the wars, poor Michael.
Yeah, bless him.
And then finally he gets shot, several times by
Loomis,
Dr. Loomis. Yeah. Falls out of a window.
Oh, bloody hell, that would hurt.
And then he vanishes.
Yeah.
He's gone, he's off on his merry way.
Well, probably not so merry.
Well, I don't know. So he does have almost this kind of, supernatural kind of thing about him. Which just makes him more interesting and more mysterious. We briefly see his face. Laurie pulls his mask off.
Yep, that was Tony Moran.
Okay.
It wasn't actually
That's
Nick
not
Castle.
The person who plays the Shape, no. So you briefly see his face. Obviously you see his face when he's 6.
Yep, and that was played by Will Sandin.
Mm-hmm, okay. But, it's kind of like a Morticia Addams lighting, kind of just mainly focused on his eyes.
Yeah.
Kind of shot of his face, and then he pulls his mask back on. So he is just shrouded in mystery, which
Yes.
I think is definitely why.
I think that's a very excellent way of liking Michael.
Thank you.
I completely agree. Let's talk a little bit about Jamie Lee Curtis in her first film.
Well, she's very good, isn't she?
I love Jamie Lee.
We've said it before, we love Jamie Lee.
Yeah, I don't mind saying it again.
No, I'll say
Jamie
it till
Lee,
the cows
we
come
love
home.
you. Yeah.
But yeah, she's very, very good. She makes a really great final girl.
Well, she is the initial and the first like scream queen,
Mm-hmm.
debatably, but yes, she is the scream queen.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, she doesn't like horror films. She doesn't like surprises. So,
Oh, bless her.
but yes, I think she's absolutely brilliant in this film. I think it's very clear that this was her first film, but that isn't slanderous, me saying that. It's because she is so young and so fresh-faced. And the other girls, what are they called? There's Annie and Linda, yeah?
Yeah.
So Annie and Linda are very vocal and they're acting circles around her. Not in a nasty way.
But I think it plays to the character, you know.
Oh, definitely, yes. Well, she's supposed to be the virginal type,
Exactly.
you know, which apparently John Carpenter and Deborah Hill never meant for that to happen. It was
Okay.
never meant for that to be implied.
Right.
It was just she was more the book smart person,
Yeah.
you know, even though we see her in a car with Annie smoking weed, which is ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. But yeah, so I think that Jamie Lee Curtis is an absolute treasure to horror films. I mean, it's not just Halloween, it's The Fog, Prom Night. You know, she's absolutely brilliant in every horror film. And I really appreciate her not redoing, being Laurie Strode in
reviving that role.
Yeah. And I think that's absolutely brilliant, and I can't wait for Halloween Kills.
Yes.
So, yes, let's talk a bit about Donald Pleasance.
Okay.
I have some facts about him. He wasn't originally the first choice.
Okay.
They wanted either Peter Cushing or Christopher Lee.
Okay.
But they couldn't afford it.
Fair enough. I mean, I think that
They were big stars.
they
in
would
that
have been
time.
a bit too big.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, Donald Pleasance had been in things like The Great Escape and whatnot.
But I mean, especially Christopher Lee, he's just too kind of scene stealing and, you know.
Well,
I mean, I wouldn't believe that he could lose track of anyone.
Another person they were going to have as Dr. Loomis was Leslie Nielsen.
Right.
Because he had been in like other films like The Thing and things like that.
Sure.
Was it The Thing? No, it wasn't The Thing. And then, how about this for the most outlandish one? Dick Van Dyke.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
Really? Really? I can't fathom that
Would
one.
he be doing his Cockney accent?
I bloody hope not.
God blimey, Michael. Yes.
Yes, so Donald Pleasance was really good in this, although I will say, I think he's a bit of a jerk.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at how he treats the kids who go up to the house. You know, I think that Loomis is a strange character.
He is a very strange character.
Because he's not friendly, he's not professional, he's just a bit of a jerk, really, isn't he?
Yeah, he kind of, blames other people for everything going on. He's kind of disrespectful to the police.
Mm-hmm. Carries his own gun.
Carries a gun. Well, he's got a license for it.
Yeah, but come on, you're a
It's
doctor.
America.
Yeah, well, yeah, true.
He's the doctor of Michael Myers.
Yeah, true.
And as it turns out, saves Laurie's life with that gun.
True, all right, but
See?
still.
It's a, plot device, mate.
Yeah, right.
But yes, he is, he's very peculiar.
Yes.
He's kind of obviously a loner. But, I mean, he is mean to those kids. He's like, hey, Lani, get away from here. And then immediately is frightened himself by the sheriff who comes up behind him. So he gets his just desserts for being
Everyone's
a jerk.
entitled to a scare.
Exactly right. But yeah, he is curious, but I like him. I do like him in this. Let's just talk a bit about how there's not much gore.
No, this
film.
isn't a gory film at all. Yeah, it is
Described as a slasher.
Yeah, it's not the first, because there's other films. There's Black Christmas, there's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and there's another one which I cannot remember off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, a lot of people say this is like the first slasher. Mm-hmm. But even then, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre doesn't have much gore.
No.
You know, gore was not necessarily just
I was really shocked the first time I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was quite shocked at how not gory it is.
Yeah, it's gruesome in bits, but it's not gory in the slightest.
It's not like a blood fest, you know.
No.
And neither is this. You know, it's obviously there are slightly graphic moments. For example, when Bob is
impaled.
So he sticks to the wall or cupboard or whatever it is.
But that's not. Again,
it's not.
You don't see the knife go in.
No.
In fact, the only real knife that you see stabbing someone is when Michael comes out and slashes a lorry. Mm-hmm. Couldn't remember her name.
In the arm.
Yeah, in the arm, and that's it.
I mean, the main damage you see happen is to Michael.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know, he gets the most kind of on-camera blows. When, you know, Laurie stabs him in the neck with a knitting needle.
Yep.
She stabs him in the eye with a hanger. She's very resourced.
Well, actually saying that, there is a little bit gory when Judith Myers gets killed.
Not really, though. You kind of see the knife.
Yeah.
You know, stabbing actions.
You see blood on her chest.
A la Psycho. You see blood on her chest. You don't see any wounds.
Yeah.
So it's not really that graphic.
Well,
I suppose that's the word. It's not graphic. You know, it doesn't show...
No, definitely not.
A lot of kind of... You know, it doesn't use kind of much special effects in terms of...
Oh, it didn't have the budget.
Showing stabbings, you know, it doesn't have any of that stuff.
Well, can I just point out that also my niece, Isabella...
Yes.
She's 18 or 19 years old now.
19 now, yeah.
But I remember she was maybe 5 or 6 when she first saw this. So, because her dad was heavily into horror films.
Right.
And that kind of just says it all about this film. Because it isn't particularly gory. It isn't gratuitous. Thank you. My teeth got stuck in my mouth. It isn't at all. And it's a very good horror film.
It just, you know, it has an excellent use of the shape.
Oh, definitely.
Michael.
Very menacing.
Very
a lot
menacing.
Of it.
And,
whether that just be appearing in a set of clothes or, well, when they're drying the clothes.
In the washing, yeah.
Yeah, and just other bits where he just pops out. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And the use of music.
Oh, John Carpenter is an absolute genius when it comes to music.
Really is. You know, he probably has the best use of music.
Yeah. Well,
and I think this is, you know, an excellent example. Not just the kind of main theme, but the kind of you know, and the kind of piano do.
I will say this, that because I'm a massive John Carpenter as a musician fan, and I've been to see him. Goodness
me.
I know. I've said that twice on this podcast.
Well, you at university, you did your final piece?
Yes, I did. I will say that he uses a rare 5/4 time signature, which is very, very hard to duplicate.
Nerd.
He is. Oh, he's just fantastic.
But, you know, he inspired your final piece when you studied music.
Yes, he did. I ended up doing, I think it was about an hour and 16 minutes
basically
of
music.
music.
Basically a film score, yeah.
And that was my final piece. So.
But I completely understand, you know, why you would be so kind of inspired by him. Because it's just, you know, it's perfect. And I think that without such a brilliant score, this wouldn't be so effective.
Oh, no. Well, somebody, John Carpenter showed it to an executive, minus the score.
Yeah.
And the executive was like, yeah, it's all right. But then it went into the cinema and with the score, and he said, wow, that was terrifying, even though he'd seen it. So that just says a lot about the score.
I mean, some horror films do very well with pretty much no music at all.
Yeah, well, look at Blair Witch Project.
Exactly.
Paranormal Activity.
But I just think it's such a